Demon dogs, mythical and supernatural dogs who will chill your bones. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Welcome to the Christian Whistleblower, Jeff Daugherty Show, NCK YouTube channel. One of my subscribers asked me to do a show about devil dogs. To be honest with you, I never thought much about devil dogs. Have never confronted a devil dog. Well, I don't think so anyway. So we want to take a look at mythical and supernatural dogs. I have a few places here of study that we're going to look at them. And I was thinking I've seen a skunk ape, which is a Florida version of a Bigfoot. I've seen one of those. And I was thinking to myself, I've never seen a devil dog, but then there was a time about 10 years ago, I was working a job where I'd go out and look at people's lawns, leave a analysis of their lawn on their door, and then call them back in the evening. Yeah, that was me. And I was in the middle of a street, and this dog was staggering up to me, a Rottweiler. Had all this, foam coming down out of his mouth, and I'm thinking, oh, this dog has got rabies. It could have been a demon-type dog, but there was nowhere to run, so this dog was circling me. And this is back when I was, trying to make ends meet. I was right before I got into the ministry as a Pentecostal preacher, so it had to have been, wow, that was 30 years ago. Crazy. And this dog would start to charge me, and I start pointing at it and speaking in tongues, and he would back off. No, he would charge me, and I'd just say, in the name of Jesus, and he'd stop. And then finally he was circling me and circling me. I started speaking in tongues, and he ran off. So, well, how, Jeff, can you doubt the reality of the name of Jesus, and how can you doubt speaking in tongues? It was my intention. It was the power of my intention is what the dog was running from. The dog was running from the power of my intention. He wasn't running from the speaking in tongues. He wasn't running from anything other than just the power of my intention. So I know that now. But something I have, and I'm going to put this a link in the thing if you want to get one of these, because I didn't have anything but a clipboard in my hand, else I would have defended myself. But now I carry this on my keychain. It's called a monkey fist, and it's got like a lead ball in it, and of course you can swing that thing around like this, and I guarantee if you hit a something or a someone that's trying to attack you with this thing, it's going to ruin their whole day and change their whole perspective about coming after you. So if you want to order one of these, I got a place where you help us out. I think I make a buck or two off of it, and you can get a kind of a cool thing. I've had this thing for years, and I had to use it once, unfortunately, on a dog, and I hate to hit an animal, but I hit him, and, well, he ran off. It's called a monkey fist for obvious reasons. So let's take a look at these dogs. The first one we're going to look at is the Cerberus. The Cerberus was a three-headed dog of Greek mythology, guarded the entrance to the underworld. He'd let you in, but he'd never let you out. It was kind of like that Richard Pryor. You ever heard Richard Pryor with the Doberman? He let the let the robber in, showed him where everything was, and they would, you can't leave. It's time to play. That was funny. But anyway, it was, and it had a lion claw, serpent tail, mane of snakes, and I guess there's something like it in Harry Potter. I'm not a Harry Potter guy. The mouth dog is out on the Isle of Man, and it is, a dog that haunts this castle, the Peel Castle on the Isle of Man, which is in off the UK. And off of England. Guards have seen the specter so often that they sometimes grow less fearful. But according to the lore, there was a drunk soldier went down, confronted the dog, came back too terrified to speak, and died 3 days later. So they did seal off that passage. But the mouth dog sightings continue. And he's also known as Madi Doo. So I don't know if that's a take on Scooby-Doo or not. And over in the Orient, they have Okuri Inu. Let's see if I can get rid of these ads. Okuri Inu, he's a demon dog of Japanese mythology. And he's a good news, bad news monster, because if he's following you, no one else will follow you as far as bad entities. But if you fall or stumble while you're walking, he will get you. So that is the Okuri Inu. Very interesting, huh? And the Kadeo, he's similar to the Japanese version. He's from Central American folklore. He might help you or he might eat you. The legend speaks of two demons, a black Kadeo and a white Kadeo. One protects travelers from harm and theft. The other one leads to bad decisions and danger and stands on two legs and throws punches like a man. Unfortunately, the legends disagree on which Kadeho is which, and turning your back or speaking to either one makes you go crazy. But it says the upside of meeting one is very small. So you've got, it's interesting. You have Greek lore, English lore, Asian lore, and then Central American, South American lore. And then the Tiangao, this has got to be Japanese, right? The Tiangao, he's Chinese, responsible for eating the sun during a solar eclipse because dogs will eat anything. The story goes that Zhang Xuan, god of birth, fires arrows at Tiangao to ward him off. Eventually he gets scared and throws up the sun like an old tennis ball. Ah, interesting. So now we have Chinese, Tiangao, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, but very interesting. So there's the 5 from that place, from dogtime.com. Find your wag. So interesting there. And then also we have 10 terrifying canines from legend off of Listverse. And we're going to see some repeats here, but there's Adlet, the winter cannibals, and in Inuit. Now we have American Indian mythology here. The Adlet are a tribe of creatures who have the lower body of a dog and the upper body of a human. They stalk the night, preying on people who wander too far away from the village. And because their human upper bodies are usually referred to as cannibals. Very, very interesting. But they do have dog feet, so for our purposes they could fit in. The Adlet, the winter cannibals. Now we also have Black Shuck, the harbinger ghost. And he's a big dog in Suffolk, England. And he's been reincarnated multiple times through the centuries. And he was, it seems, owned by a man who ended up the victim of a horrible drowning in the marshes of Suffolk County. And the man's soul cries out for vengeance, and it possesses the closest warm body he could find. That was his dog, Shuck, who was still sitting by the water's edge. So this dog is the size of a bicycle, red eyes. Its howl can be heard echoing over the moors in a fog-drenched night. You won't hear it because it has padded feet, and they sneak up behind you very quickly. Panhu, the head taker. The Yao people are an ethnic minority in China. And among their folklore is the story of Panhu, the father of their race. And Panhu, the worm, it has to go with a worm that goes in an eardrum, and the worm was extricated and became a dog with the whispers of a dragon, and the Panhu became the emperor's pet. So at one time the dog, was semi-good, but now the dog comes out as a man. The dog is a chimera, and the dog is dangerous. So that's Panhu of the southwest China. We've already seen the black Kadeho, and they use this picture for the Japanese one on the other side. But there's a black Kadeho, and remember, there's a white Kadeho. So the black one is the one that'll get you, and the white one is the one that typically tends to protect travelers. That reminds me of the old Indian saying, I got 2 dogs fighting inside me. Which one wins? Well, the one I feed the most. So which Kadeho are you feeding the most? Teha Yagua, the 7-headed fire beast, in the Guarani language of Paraguay and Brazil. And he's kind of actually a lizard god, but some people say that he has 7 dog heads instead of lizard heads. He lives in a beautiful forest. On one side of it is a magic hill, and he guards this paradise with the ferocity of a demon. His dog heads he can see in all directions, and their eyes shoot fire. And it's said that simply looking at this lizard god with the dog heads will make you go blind and causes an earthquake. So that's very interesting. Tehu Yagua. And Falinus, the beast slayer. Falinus or Fail Innis is from my, mythology, my people, the Irish people. And he's mentioned in a lot of stories, ballads, songs. There's the fate of the children of Terion. And this is a dog that attacks people. One of the stories is that somebody sent their kids out to find some magical items, one of which was this dog who belongs to the king and is so powerful that before him every wild beast falls powerless. So the children complete their quest, and Lu, who was the king, became the master of Felinus. And that's the last we hear of the hound in that story, but it surfaces later. There came a band of 3. Lu acquired Felinus, and now the ageless dog is the property of 3 travelers. But anyway, the dog glows at night, kills every animal in its path, turns water into wine when it bathes. That's interesting. And it's responsible for killing several men at its master's behest. And there's no besting its hardness of combat. So he looks like he's a killing machine. Felinus, the beast slayer. Interesting. So he's king of the jungle, and he's a dog of Irish mythology. Susith, the soul reaper. He comes from also that area of the world. He's from the Scottish Highlands. He's a massive beast that lives up in those craggy mountains. And he's like the size of a cow, a small cow, a calf, I guess. He's green, which is interesting. Teeth like razor blades. Big paws bigger than a man's hand. And he's the gatherer of souls for the afterlife. So if you're killed by him, you suffer both in this life and the next. Some people also believe that he is the kind of the enforcer for the fairies or the fae that live there in the Emerald Isle. And they send the beast out to kidnap nursing mothers and bring them to their homes in the hills where they'll work for the rest of their lives nursing fairy babies. So fairies, the fae, do have some nefarious, malevolent imagery and mythology attached to them as well. So Susith is probably at least a cousin to Felinus, right? They're not too far away from one another. And if they had a confrontation, you have to ask yourself, who comes out on top in that one, right? Hui Shivo, the half-beast sorcerer. So he definitely is mean-looking. It looks like he's got human hands, dog head. He comes from the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. The Hui Shivo awaits. He's a Mayan legend, half beast, half man. And it's the result of a sorcerer cutting a deal with the devil. Don't know if it was a good deal or a bad deal, but it looks like it was definitely a mixed deal, huh? And once it attacks a goat and gets the blood, and one would think the blood of other creatures too, not just humans, it becomes a mix between a dog and a goat. You don't see it, but you feel it because you suddenly get cold and there's a stench of rotting garbage, and it won't hurt you as long as you don't look at it, which is very, very interesting. So if you smell rotting garbage and get really cold and you're in the Yucatan Peninsula, close your eyes. Modi Du, the Night Stalker, we've already heard about him. The Inugami, we've already heard about him. And there you go. This is kind of an interesting site. It has all kinds of lists of 10 most terrifying of this, 10 most terrifying of that. And we'll finish up with Wikipedia, the Hellhound. It's kind of a term that covers any kind of supernatural dog in folklore. Features that have been attributed to hellhounds are mangled black fur, glowing red eyes, super strength or speed, ghostly or phantom in nature. And if you are a watcher of Supernatural, you know they have hellhounds there that you really can't see. You just kind of see the effect of them being there and hear them growling and the chains and whatnot. And they come and get the people that have made a deal with a crossroad demon and takes them, you know, back to hell. And here's some names from folklore of some other dogs. You can see some of the ones that we have that we've already talked about. Church Grim is from England and Scandinavia. They're the attendant spirit of churches, overseeing the welfare of their particular church. Now this is interesting because when I was pastoring in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, I didn't see a dog, but I saw a pig that was regularly in that church until I got rid of him. So churches seem to be places that attack spirits, and if they attack a dog, or if they attract a pig, I could see where they could certainly attract a dog. Very, very interesting. So there's a lot to, there's a lot to do with these dogs. There's a whole bunch of these dogs. The Hellhound, also English. The Getrash, Northern England, haunts lonely roads and awaits travelers, appears in the shape of horses, mules, or dogs. Interesting. They can lead people astray, but sometimes they can be benevolent, guiding lost travelers to the right road. Boy, that's very interesting, isn't it? Black Dog of Booley, we've heard about him. We've heard about Modi Doo. Welsh myth, looks like it's full of them. Here's Dip, an evil black dog. So they all seem to, and of course the Hound of the Baskervilles, Black Shuck, the Bearer of Death. That kind of goes along with the supernatural lore. He comes and gets you when it's time for you to die. The Barghest, kind of like the Barkest. He's like a ghost or a household elf. Living in a place called Troller's Gill. So very interesting stuff. Devil dogs, hellhounds, and of course the dog that I saw, I guess you could say it might have been a devil dog, but I think it was a dog that was rabid. So very interesting. I mean, I didn't really know that I wasn't aware of all the different types of hellish dogs in folklore. So very interesting. And then of course you think of werewolves. And you can see where some of these things get their start and kind of work together. And, you know, silver gets rid of the werewolf, and silver, of course, is very good for spiritual protection. So it's interesting how even the craziest of folklore has a interesting base in at least some type of history and some type of experience. And here's the goddess Hell and the Hellhound, and that's kind of a masculine-looking goddess, but maybe it's like a, well, I don't want to say anything bad about a goddess. I was going to make a silly joke, but there she is with her Hellhound. Well, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. This is part of just unwinding your mind. This is part of unindoctrinating yourself. This is part of appreciating other people's stories and cultures so we can be excellent to each other. Trying to put together a show with Rex Bear of Leap Project about soul farms, so be looking for that. That'll be super exciting. So until next time, guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, and of course, be your own guru and be excellent to each other.